Well, hello, Blue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here. So last night, again, playing around on the computer, I grabbed that Revell S kit of the Convair Tradewind off the shelf. I actually have two of them. One was a gift from Mr. Van Osh, and one of them I bought. And I've been meaning to build one. I've wanted to have that on the shelf for a while. I think this is just one of the coolest airplanes ever. Of course, I've kind of got a thing for contra-rotating prop aircraft, although I didn't used to, but I used to think they looked a little dorky, but as time went by and I saw the magnificent performance some of them gave, including the famous Russian Bear, which is still in use today, I was like, that really is an interesting concept that makes a lot of problems go away, but it creates a lot of new problems. This airplane had a very short service life. They only made it, I think, 11 of them, and they were in service for about 2 years. Several of them crashed, usually due to gearbox or engine failures or propeller failures. The technology was just a little too new, but the fact that the Navy was willing to invest in it, and mind you, this is a time when the Navy got the bright idea to put an F-102 on water skis and a nuclear bomber as a pure straight float jet. I think the idea was they wanted to get away from being tied to aircraft carriers, which could be sunk. Well, what if the aircraft can operate right off the water? What are they going to do? Sink the ocean? It didn't go through. In fact, although the Sea Dart and the Seamaster were tested and had a lot going for them, the Navy got away from the concept. The Convair Tradewind's biggest problem was the technology issues with its Allison T40 engine and the gearboxes and propellers. There were a lot of aircraft that actually used the T40, but of all of them, the Tradewind is the only one that actually went into operational service. That includes the Lockheed XFV-1 and the Convair XFY-1, the famous Douglas A2D Sky Shark, the Heller X18, the XA21 Super Savage, and the famous Thunder Screech. These were all magnificently interesting concepts that failed in no small part due to the Allison T40. In fairness, though, before we're too harsh on the T40, we have to remember that they took the Allison T38 turbine engine, slapped two of them together, made it the T40, put a complex gearbox on it. But you got to remember the T38 was developed towards the tail end of World War II, or at least that's when they started working on it. This is basically 40s technology. I mean, turbines in general were brand spanking new. And I really salute them for just being willing to put the resources in and go there. Unfortunately, not only pay with money, some people paid with their life. And in fairness to the T38 engine, it should be noted that it evolved into the Allison T56, that's used on the C-130 to this day. So it did eventually, with enough time and tinkering and knowledge and experience, become a very, very robust engine that's used actually on a lot of aircraft. But the early days when these experiments were taking place, it just wasn't there yet. Well, enough of the history lesson. So while I was sitting here watching YouTube videos, I started working on it. And I do love these Revell S kits because they're so straightforward. They're an easy thing to just sort of sand on and put together while you're watching videos. And it pretty much went together without any argument. But I'm not set up to paint here in the house. So once I got it sanded down and everything, got it to a point where I was happy with it, it did have to give it some clamp. Getting the floats on the wingtips and positions a little on the tricky side, and of course had to get the wings straight and everything. So once I got it there, I just let it set overnight, and today I took it out to the Tarbis where I got it sanded down and primed. I primed it with just blue lacquer and then had to mix up the correct color. I didn't really have it in a rattle can, so I just used the regular Tamiya blue paint, the lacquer paint, to put a base coat on it, and then I mixed up the Tamiya acrylics and used the airbrush to put the actual final coat color on it. It's basically a 3-color airplane. The propellers are black with yellow tips. Everything else pretty much just blue. And the decals, much to my amazement, actually were somewhat usable. I put the restoring fluid on them, let them harden, trimmed them out, and they gave me surprising little trouble going in, with the exception of one of the tail decals that broke up on me. And it also didn't want to let go of the paper. But the decals did start to peel up after a while. One side of the red stripes broke up. So I went ahead and got into the stash of decals and got some replacements. One of the stars and bars also kept peeling off, so I had to replace about 3 or 4 of the decals, but for the most part, they pretty much worked. I made sure to give it a good clear coat before I put any decals on it so they'd have something to bite into. And I used a lot of the Tamiya decal adhesive and then Solvaset after that. And got it all done, and very, very, very straightforward. Easy build. Really enjoyed it. Loved the airplane. In fact, I like it so much that I went ahead and brought it and its box art and put them here in the office. And I still say this airplane looks like it belongs in a 50s sci-fi movie. And at one point, we're going to do a 50s sci-fi build of real-world equipment you think belongs in a 50s sci-fi movie. While I was working on that, I was also finishing off the little Heller 1/72nd scale biplane Helldiver in French markings. And except for the main national insignia being out of register, it was pretty much a straightforward build. I have no real complaints about the kit. The few complaints I have are not because of the kit. It's the design of the airplane. That landing gear, as small and spindly as it is, has a lot of trouble supporting the weight. There's very fine attach points on the main strut. So that, again, is not a fault of the kit. That's just the way the airplane was. But I also did have to do a little grinding on the cowling to get it to seat properly. I had to pull it off. But other than that, minor stuff. And just a really, really better than I expected. I'm not rigging it with cables or anything. I'm happy with the way it is. It's on the shelf. Actually, I decided the landing gear needed another 24 hours to harden, so I got it on its back, but it is done. And also took a few pictures of the little Lindbergh Dornier, which is typical Lindbergh kit with a couple of big gaps. I think I'm going to put a picture of that one in the crappy kit build just because, a little more attention to detail. It could have been a good kit, but it's a tail setter, which I had to put a slug in front. It's a 0 detail cockpit. It's a poor fit on the wings, so it's a Lindbergh, so it qualifies for the crappy kit build. One thing I will point out about getting back to the Tradewind is that it does have a openable nose section, and it does have a little ramp that comes with it if you want to pose it that way, so you can do a little diorama with it or something if you want to with it, landing the troops on the beach. But I'm real happy with it. It's exactly what I expected. I didn't get in the weeds trying to hide all the seams and everything. It's a Revell S kit, let it be what it is. It's what I want it to be. And the one thing I would change on the build on this kit, if I'd thought about it, is I would have painted the leading edges of the wings and tail first, and then masked them off and spray painted everything blue. I didn't think about that. And so instead of trying to get around all these nacelles and everything and make a mess out of it, spray painting it, I decided to go ahead and just use decal sheet to make the leading edges and stuff. I might trim those down later, but to be honest, I'm not really worried about it. It looks fine up on the shelf. I'm happy with it. There are a couple of cool documentaries out on YouTube if you want to learn about this airplane. I just think it was a neato design. It's too bad it didn't work, but I just thought the concept, and if they had been able to get the engines worked out, it probably would have had a long life in the Navy. It wound up being used basically as an airborne tanker because they got away from the entire concept of the floating fleet air assets. So the Seamaster, the Sea Dart, and the Tradewind basically lost their mission. But it's still such a cool plane and a cool idea. And to be honest, I think, although very limited in niche, an airplane like that today could have some commercial use. There are a lot of remote places in the world where having a cargo float plane might still pay off. So, I don't know what I'm talking about on that. I say that because I love the romance of that kind of thing, the flying boats and everything. So, pardon me for being a hopeless romantic. I also want to thank Larry and Peggy Magnuson. They are actually the in-laws of one of my wife's nephews, and they were in Traverse City, Michigan when they bumped into a hobby shop that was going out of business, so they grabbed me a couple of kits from Atlantis. They were huge savings. They got me the B-29 and the Convair 990 Coronado jet. So Larry and Peggy, thank you very much for that. I'm very appreciative, and it was very kind of you to think of me. All right, guys, that's what I've got for right now. You take care of yourselves. We'll talk at you later. And as always, model on.
The glue ain't set, the paint still wet. Decals crooked, ain't there yet. My fingers stuck, the glue won't quit. I'll make a little song about this little model kid. Styrene dreams, yeah, they fall apart. Built with love, but not with smarts. Singing songs about the mess I've made. Funny tunes for funny mistakes, that's my trade. The Mustang's purple, the tank's bright blue. What did I just do? Who needs rules when you got glue? A bomber's nose with the car's backseat, the ugliest plane you'll ever meet. I laugh, I cry, I hum, I sigh. One more try, one more try. Styrene dreams, yeah, they fall apart. Built with love, but not with smarts. Singing songs about the mess I've made. Funny tunes for funny mistakes, that's my trade. I laugh, I cry, I hum, I sigh. One more try, one more try. Styrene dreams, yeah, they fall apart. Built with love, but not with smarts. Singing songs about the mess I've made. Funny tunes for funny mistakes, that's my trade. The Mustang's good, snap together, heartbreak, every piece wrong. I sing 'em loud, I sing 'em long.